a lovely inn somewhere in the mountains was enough to offset hours of untangling project snafus and budget overruns. For as long as she could remember, Liz had dreamed of following in her grandparents' footsteps, running their inn, Angel's Rest, but she'd landed here instead. Not that she was complaining. She'd earned a corner office and a six-figure salary, and since she had barely a minute to spare, she'd been able to put a lot of money aside to someday follow that dream. Not an awful problem to have, but some days she wasn't even sure how she might find the time for someday. A double knock at her door brought her back from the daydream. "Thanks for the loan." Her friend Dan stood in the doorway about to flip the key fob to her Range Rover across the room. She jumped to her feet to catch it in midair. "You're welcome. Did you find your clients the perfect home to live out their golden years?" The only time Dan ever borrowed her car was when he had senior citizen clients who couldn't make the climb into his oversized Suburban. She'd told him when he bought the thing it wasn't practical for a real estate agent, but there was no talking him out of it. So on occasion he begged her to trade vehicles for the day. What are friends for? "Good catch. We wrote an offer on one of the new condos downtown. They loved it." Dan rubbed his hands together. "Only had to show them 3 places before they made up their mind." He pumped his fist. "Sold." His premature gray made him look older than he was, which probably made people assume he had years more experience than he did. It was moments like this, and in his 20-something antics, that his real age showed. "Congratulations." "A good day, despite the rain." He glanced out the window, then shrugged. "I've got to run. I'm showing a Bank of America exec a few places this evening." He turned, then leaned back into her office. "If I get done early, I'll bring Jeb's barbecue. I'm showing a house right near there. Deal?" "I thought you had a date with Leanne tonight." "She had something come up at work, so I went ahead and booked this showing for tonight. We're going out tomorrow for lunch instead." "Okay, sounds good then." But he was already walking away. Didn't matter. He pretty much showed up at her house as he pleased anyway, and she was fine with that. He was kind of like the brother she never had. A good friend, but sometimes a pain in the butt. Just as she sat back down, Peggy walked in. "Ready to celebrate being done with the McKinley project?" "Oh, yeah." She leaned back in her chair. "I just sent in my final reports. Everything is officially off my plate." "You did a great job. Thank you so much for taking that on when it was in such a mess." "You know me. I like the challenge." "That's true." Peggy peered over the desk toward Liz's computer. "So, what are you working on there?" "I was just doing a little daydreaming over this B&B for sale." She spun her screen toward Peggy. "Look at this place. Isn't it dreamy?" "Gorgeous. I could spend a week there." "Me too." This house was a lot fancier than what Liz had in mind, but someday she was going to find the perfect place at the perfect price. Still dreaming. "Why would you even dream of leaving all this?" Peggy spread her arms wide. "I mean, trading the chaos for tranquility? Are you crazy?" "Maybe, but someday I want the only thing to overwhelm me to be the joy of a beautiful sunrise instead of back-to-back meetings that steal my last hope for a good day." She and Peggy had daydreamed about low-stress jobs before, but she was pretty sure that it was all talk on Peggy's part. Someday, Liz would do it. Doesn't that sound like heaven? It does. Peggy leaned on the desk. I'm not sure the last time I took the time to watch a sunrise. We're going skiing in Boone next week. I'm going to make a point of doing it, at least one day. That sounded wonderful. She couldn't wait to do the same. I love Boone. It's not all that far from my grandparents' old lodge. Do you think it's too early for some holiday decorations to be up? Thanksgiving wasn't until next week. My grandparents used to start decorating for the holidays in October. It was quite the extravaganza. People came from all over to see it. That place was magical. She felt the remaining stress from the McKinley project fall away. Thinking about Angel's Rest always had that effect on her.